Greetings, I'm Michael O'Connor, and thanks for joining me at the well. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that's love. Love can have a lot of different meanings, but the one I want to focus on today is when Jesus said, love one another. What kind of love was he talking about? And to help us understand this, I'm going to bring in Bishop Robert Barron to give us a little bit more detail.
So Jesus says, love one another. All right, well, what do you mean by that? Well, see, the Greek of the New Testament is actually far richer here because the Greek of the New Testament includes a variety of words, all of which are translated love in English, but mean very different things. And I want to just review this with you because I think it's very clarifying when it comes to this central command of Jesus. Here are the three words I'm talking about in Greek: eros, philia, and agape. Eros, philia, and agape. All of those are translated as love, but they mean very different things. Okay, what does eros mean? Well, because our word erotic is derived from that. I would say something like this. It means a passionate, intense desire for something or for someone. And so you see the obvious sexual overtone of erotic desire. It's a desire to have or to possess. It's intense. It drives you toward the possession of a thing or a person. Now, mind you, I'm not bad-mouthing the erotic. I mean, let's face it, none of us would be here unless there was something like erotic desire. None of us would be alive unless we had something like this for food and drink. It's an intense, passionate drive. Okay, the second word, philia. Think of Philadelphia, right? The city of brotherly love, we say. Well, philia in Greek has a sense of friendship. It's the affection between friends. Think when you say, I like that guy. Yeah, she's great. I really like her a lot. She's someone I want to spend time with. That guy, he's like my buddy. I like spending time with him. That's philia. Now, you might say, it's less self-interested than eros. Eros has that sense of almost like an animal passion for food, for drink, for sex, to possess the other. Well, philia isn't really like that. Philia is like, no, you're my friend. I want to be with you. Not so much I want to possess you. I want to be with you. I want to spend time with you. Well, Jesus is not saying to his disciples, I want you to have eros for one another. I hope that's pretty clear. He's not urging them, you must love one another in that erotic sense. Nor is he saying, in the Greek that's used there, I want you to have philia for one another. See, that would mean, I want you all to be friends. So Peter and James and John and all of you, I want you all to be friends. I think there's a very good chance that the disciples, some of them, didn't get along with other disciples. They're all following Jesus. They're all chosen by the Lord, but did it mean they all liked each other? That they all would happily spend time together? Not necessarily. And he's not commanding that. I want you all to be friends. Nor is he telling his followers down through the centuries, you have to be friends with everybody. No, that's not what he says. The verb that's used, and now the distinction I hope becomes clear, not eros, not philia. The verb used here, the noun rather, is agape. Agape. Translated love, indeed, like the other ones. But what does it mean? You probably heard me talk a lot about Thomas Aquinas's famous characterization. He would have called it caritas in his Latin. To will the good of the other. To will the good of the other. That's agape. And that's the command that Jesus gives to his disciples and to us. That's how people will know that you're my follower, that you have agape for one another. You will the good of each other. Mind you, it's not a desire to possess, that's eros, nor is it a desire to spend time with, that's philia. It's a desire for the good of the other. Therefore, it's a self-sacrificing move. Maybe this way, it's commitment to the other. That's agape. We're so good, we sinners, at getting around these things. What do we end up saying very often? What do we act out very often? Is I pretend I'm willing your good. But in fact, I'm desiring what's good for you that you might then give me something good in return. I'll be just or kind to you that you might be just or kind to me. That's not agape. That's not willing the good of the other. That's just using the other for my own good. Agape, love as Jesus commands it, is breaking free of the black hole of one's own egotism, right, fellow sinners, that draws the whole world into me and my preoccupations. Jesus is saying, I want you to have this quality that breaks free of that. That's love as he's commanding it. Can I give you a concrete example here? One of the great saints of the 20th century, Maximilian Kolbe, right? The man who famously gave himself in exchange for a man that the Nazis were going to kill. He said, take me instead, and I'm a Catholic priest, take me in his place. And the Nazis did, and they starved him to death, which is one of the worst ways to die. Did Maximilian Kolbe know the man very well? I don't think so. Was he his friend? Did he have philia toward him? Did he want to spend time with him? I mean, I don't know is my honest answer. I don't think there's any evidence of that. But Kolbe shows in the most dramatic way possible agape, a self-forgetting, self-sacrificing, willing the good of the other. That's what Jesus is talking about. Not eros, not philia. Nothing wrong with those two things. But that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about this kind of self-surrendering love. You know, a great biblical place to look, if you want to follow up from this sermon, go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. You probably heard it read at a wedding at some point in your life. But listen to Paul, because Paul here is not talking about eros and not talking about philia. He's talking about agape. And it's rendered love, of course, in English, but listen to him. Love, agape, is patient. Now, see, why patient? Well, because it's not interested in its own good. It's interested in the good of the other. And therefore, it's going to bear all things. It's going to put up with everything because it wants the good of the other. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant. Why? Because it's taking you out of the ego and its preoccupations. It positively wants what's good for you. Love does not insist on its own way. See, that's the mark of egotism. You might say it's the mark of the erotic form of love too. It's I want this for me. I want to possess it. Love doesn't. Agape doesn't do that. It doesn't insist on its own way. Listen, it does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. See, if you're just all about yourself, well, you might rejoice in wrongdoing because doing the wrong thing might benefit me, right? But real love cares for the good of the other. Therefore, it's not interested in wrongdoing. It rejoices in the truth. And then beautifully, it bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. That's not eros. It's not philia. It's the self-emptying, self-forgetting love of the other. It's willing the good of the other. And that's, everybody, the command that Jesus gives the night before he dies. That's how people will know that we are his disciples.
Can you imagine if everyone lived this concept of love? Perhaps that's what true heaven is all about. Until next time, keep listening, Keep praying, and God bless.
Thank you.